did try to, do my best to say, okay, this is where we are at this point in time. What do I estimate we're going to need for the rest of the year based on prior year needs? So when I did look at the legal accounts at the end of May after processing these transferred, I will say they did look like, keep my fingers crossed, that we would have enough after these transfers were done. So that's basically the majority of the transfers. If anyone has any additional questions.
Any questions from the board?
Yes. The bottom there, the pension and the FICA and the Medicare, is that because of the extra week?
No, those are from accounts.
Okay.
Okay, the ones that are on the left side identifies the accounts where the funds are going to, and the ones on the right side are the accounts where the funds are coming from.
Okay. And a lot of the legal, we've already discussed during the year that was going to be something that was going to require transfers. And we knew about the health insurance. Okay.
Jason, Bill, any questions?
So there's no constraints about taking money out of a pension account?
Well, we had budgeted over $1 million to put in as our annual required contribution, and it came in the $900,000 range. So that's why we had the excess funds.
So this $172,000 is surplus above
Exactly, exactly. And it's permissible to make the transfers from within the same department. All of the fixed costs in our budget are in Department 114.
Okay.
And if you'll note, that's where it's coming from, a Department 114 budget account going to a Department 114 account.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to ratify department transfers in the amount of $207,600 processed for fiscal year end June 30th, 2016.
Do we have a second?
Do we have to identify what they are, or do we have to somehow or another tie the back of this page to the motion?
I can say as set forth in schedule,
Attached schedule.
scheduled as attached.
That's it.
Good point.
That's it. I'll second. It just seemed like a short motion. Our
Yeah.
motions like to be long. I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one abstain. Moving on to agenda item G. Budget transfers within departments, $50,692 for week 53 payroll.
Okay, so as discussed at a previous meeting, we did have a 53rd budget payroll this fiscal year that was not included in the original budget. This list of transfers are departments where we identified they had funds remaining in some of their other accounts for various reasons. For example, in the Public Works Department, they did not have as much snow overtime this year, so there were sufficient funds in that account to take care of the regular payroll account. And let's see some of the other. And other like in the assessors department, they didn't use their part-time help as much as they originally planned, so there was sufficient funds. That's one of the accounts where there were sufficient funds to take care of it. So any of these are all departments where, for various reasons, there were remaining funds in another account that we were able to do the transfers that were needed.
So it's basically net.
Within the department.
I know you're taking it from various, but it's not like it's going from anywhere else. It's going all from within.
It's within that department,
Yeah.
but, right, there is
Okay.
another one later on the agenda that are coming from other departments other than,
Right.
yeah.
Any questions? Having no additional questions, do we have a motion?
I'd like the motion ratify the department transfers in the amount of $50,692 to process for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2016, related to the week 53 payroll as attached on the back of the proposal.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. And one abstain. Moving on to new business, item H, budget transfers in other departments, $52,309 for week 53 payroll.
So again, you have a list of other wage accounts that, in those departments, there was not sufficient funds to do transfers. Most of them are the smaller administrative departments where basically the entire budget is salary, so there's not a lot of operational items where we would be able to have funds available. So we're primarily taking it from, we still had funds available in the payroll contingency, and then the part-time dispatchers in the emergency management department. Those are the primary sources to make up the differences for the other shortfalls that we have within the budget.
Any questions from the board?
Just 1 second, I'm just. So if I compare these two proposals, the first one is the stuff that you could move between the departments.
Within a
And then anything
department.
that, some of these are the same line, so it's the things that you've taken everything that you can from within the department, then you're going outside of it.
Correct.
I got it. I'm good. Good.
Yep.
Jason?
I'm good.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to process transfers in the amount of $52,309 as set forth in the attachment, as presented in the, well, there it is, as presented in the attached list for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2016, related to week 53 payroll.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And one abstain. Moving on to line item letter I. This is the LoCIP carryover up to $173,844. Would you care to comment on that, Hannah?
Okay, sure. So every year we do receive, it's typically around $120,000 from the state local capital improvement grant. We do identify the projects that we plan to do within the fiscal year in the capital improvement plan. Sometimes for whatever reasons, projects get delayed in getting accomplished. So whatever funds that we still have remaining available from prior years, because we're allowed to carry remaining balances from year to year, we always at the end of the year go before the boards to request permission to carry over that balance, so that next year when we go to work on the projects that we've identified in the capital improvement plan to do with the LoCIP funds, we have the total amount available to us. And this is the remaining
And if you
balance.
didn't do that, it would lapse, correct?
No, it wouldn't. What we would have to do is, I mentioned that our annual entitlement is about $120,000. So that's what we have in the 16-17 budget identified in the LoCIP account. So in order to be able to have access for us to spend the remaining portion that we have available, it needs to be appropriated into the budget. And that's the purpose of this.
And that's because of the timing of when the money comes in, right? A little
Well,
bit.
not for the remaining funds. This
Mhm.
is, we have this $173,000 available to us to spend on projects. We just, for various reasons, have not completed the projects. They're in various stages. So that's why we're asking to carry the funds into next year's budget, so that we will be able to accomplish those projects.
Is that like the purchase order theory, so that you can still have the funds?
These funds haven't been encumbered yet. If they were,
Okay.
okay,
You
these are
wouldn't be
funds that
here.
are not encumbered that we want to have the ability to encumber in the future. Think of
Okay.
it like that.
All right. Very good.
Any further questions?
No question.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Do you have that? I'll read it.
Here you go.
Motion to approve the carryover of the remaining balance of up to $173,844.74 in account 0-30-317-500-100 LOSIP and corresponding revenue account 0103-300-320 from the 2015/16 budget to the 2016/17 fiscal year.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstain, Karen. Okay, that concludes the new business portion of our agenda this evening. Now we will double back and go to the approval of minutes. Does anybody have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 13th?
Motion to approve the regular meeting of the Board of Finance of April 13th, 2016.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay. I'm not abstaining on that one, Karen. That was an aye. Okay, do we have a motion for the public hearing minutes dated April 25th, 2016?
Motion to approve the Board of Finance public hearing of April 25, 2016.
Second?
Second.
Okay, you got it. Lost some power. I know.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. How about a motion for the special meeting of April 25th?
I move to accept the meetings of the meeting minutes from the special meeting, April 25th, 2016.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. 4-0. Motion required for the regular meeting of May 11th.
Now, you haven't got the package, so you haven't seen these meetings?
Well, actually, I have seen these because Karen emails them well in advance of our meeting, so I was able, thank you, Karen, very much. I was able to review the electronic copy.
Okay, I was just gonna say we'd table them until if you didn't, but okay.
Thank you, Bill. No, I have read them. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the regular meeting of the Board of Finance for May 11, 2016.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Can we please have a motion?
Motion to approve the Board of Finance special meeting school tour on May 26, 2016.
Second.
Okay, I do have one correction on this.
I didn't write
I
this
saw
up,
that.
so that's why. I wasn't
That's
there
okay.
either.
I just, for the record, I would like to take credit for attending, but I was unable.
I'll take that out.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to amend the special meeting minutes of Wednesday, May 25th, as proposed.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next.
Motion to approve the special meeting for the Board of Finance, May 25th, 2016.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And the last one, please?
Motion to approve the special informational session of the Board of Selectmen, Board of Education, and Board of Finance for May 25th, 2016.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. 4-0-0. Okay, moving on to the next section of the agenda, reports. The first selectman is absent this evening, so we'll move on to the Board of Education.
Just briefly, I just wanted to let the Board of Finance know that the Board of Ed will be discussing, probably this summer, getting back onto a rotation of members of the Board of Ed coming to the Board of Finance meetings to give updates. We thought that went well this past year, and we're continue to work on that communication transparency between the town and the district. So I just wanted you to be aware that we're working on that. We'll get back on track next year, especially when we talk finances and budget.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay,
Mhm.
that was it.
Okay.
Be brief.
Great.
Do
Thank
you
you.
have any, like, updates on what's next in terms after the special meeting that we had?
I can give you a quick brief one, yes. In particularly the resolution that will be coming before the Board of Selectmen next Wednesday evening, the 15th. We're going to talk about it at the Board of Education meeting on Monday, the 13th. And what that does basically is in very simple terms, it allows us to file the projects with the state by June 30th, and also allows us to hold a town meeting in the fall and a potential referendum in November of late October, early November. That date hasn't been set yet for next year. That's all it does. We still have a lot of work to come present, a more formalized packet, have our community forums. All that will be laid out and still will occur, but that resolution is an important element that's going to just allow us to file with the state by June 30th and potentially plan a referendum. So that's what we'll be discussing on Monday night, and then we'll bring before the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, not a problem.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Newton.
All right.
Moving on to the report from the Finance Director.
Okay, so when we did distribute the packages for the meeting, the monthly reports for May were in the packages. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I will point out, we did receive in the month of May, we did receive the second operating transfer in from the sewer assessment fund to defray the impact of debt, which was $426,232. We received 2 months of Board of Ed tuition from Salem, a little about $294,000, and our next largest revenue for the month was current taxes, which was about $129,000. On the expense side, I'll point out, we did do one of our LoCIP projects that was planned, and that was to repave the parking lot in Upper McCook's now that the boardwalk is finished, so that's been done. We spent $51,000 in the road reconstruction account, our principal and interest payments, and then the next, we paid out $20,000 to the tree warden, and our general government legal for the month was $16,000. Those are just a few of the highlights for the month. So at this point, I did another relook at end of year, and I think we're looking at probably operating results of about $650,000 to the good. So.
So that is actually about 80,000 better than anticipated?
No, I think I'm a little lower.
Or
a
I
little
thought it was 570 that we were projected to be
no, so
returning, and now it's 650?
that's what it looks like, but I still have one more month to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything
So any
that'll come
surprises?
out.
So,
So,
is, in your analysis of the potential of what would be returned, they had the special session last week on Thursday, and the bail reform, whatever, which had a assumed revenue of 200 million, was not acted upon. And what I read in the papers is that whatever that amount is, it's gonna be passed on to the municipalities. Have you gotten anything from CCM about what the breakdown is in terms of potential loss to East Lyme?
I have not at this point.
Okay.
So, I will mention that today, First Selectman and I did a rating call with Moody's for the upcoming bond deal that we'll be doing next month. We've identified another refunding that we can do of $7.5 million. and we have the new money, which are the two items that were on the agenda this evening, as well as, if you remember, we still had outstanding notes for the acquisition of 224 Main Street. So we'll be permanently bonding those now that the transaction has actually occurred. So, anyways, and
With the reissue of that debt, did we get a better rate?
well, we won't know that until we actually
Goes to
have
the
the
market.
sale, yeah. Typically, every year, I believe the notes that we have from last year, they're gonna mature in, on July 15th. So we have to have the deal prior to that, so when those notes mature, we have the financing in place to pay them off and then do the permanent bonding. So that's kind of why we're like tied to this cycle every year. You know, that was established long ago. So that's why it's important that any new projects, we need to make sure that we get the authorizations accomplished in the month of June.
Can I? Yes,
The-
Beth?
The Main Street one, but was approved at a referendum.
Back in 2010.
Yeah, the temporary borrow, is it locked in that price? Or is it just a placeholder?
No, okay, so we have
what I
the,
mean?
we have the short-term notes that, I apologize, I don't have the rate this evening, but we have the short-term notes that we had last year for a particular rate. They're gonna mature in July, then they're paid off. We're going to market again for the new money, at which time we'll get, the rate on the day that we have the sale. We'll know what the rate is then.
Okay,
So
so
it'll be
that
a
kinda
new
like
rate.
goes away, cause it wasn't,
Well, it's paid. They're
Right.
short-term, one-year notes. So when they mature in July, we're gonna pay them off.
Right.
And then we're gonna do the permanent borrowing, and we'll have a new rate for that.
Well,
Okay.
long-term borrowing.
20 years, yes.
Right.
So then hopefully, you never know, I mean, I believe there are two issues that we're doing the refunding. We did the financing in 2011 and 2012. And in looking at them, it makes sense for us to take a look at doing the refunding. So we're hopeful that, that will save in future years from the way our debt schedule currently looks.
So when you said that you and the first selectman had a rating call today, what was discussed? What's the outcome of that call?
We don't know yet, because what happens is.
Do you make a plea to, or do
Well,
do
we
you plead
just-
your case about the
Well, we-
creditworthiness of the town, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So first of all, we prepare an official statement.
do they have
and
the audited report, don't they?
Then they receive the audit, and then we have an outline of, various financial highlights of the town. And then we always need to discuss the economy, any new economic development projects that we have that are ongoing, or things that we are looking at for the future. And then we discuss what we're projecting our end-of-year operations to be for the current year. We talk about the new budget. And of course, we also discussed what's going on with the state and how that impacted the town and how we dealt with it. And then they want to know any challenges that we may have, we're looking at for the future, that kind of thing. So then once we have the rating call, we also provide them a copy of our 5-year capital improvement plan, the latest debt projections that we have. He also wants a copy of the capital improvement plan, so we forward all that information to him. He just reviews everything, and then he crafts a report, and he has to go to committee to, say, okay, yes, Town of East Lyme deserves to, maintain their rating for the issue. And then once he goes to committee and it gets approved, then it will get published so that they can market our deal.
Okay,
So that's kind of the process.
thank you. Any
Um,
further questions for the finance director?
And health insurance, since last we talked, is,
Oh, thank you. That was the next, okay, so,
I know that's a special point in your heart.
in the month of May, our total claims were 604,000, which was about 100,000 less than the prior month. So I was able to take a little bit, a sigh of relief, if you will. But remember, I pointed out that because of the position of the fund, we had the Board of Education, prepay a month earlier in the fiscal year. So in the month of June, all we're going to get from them are the premium shares from the employees and any of the retired teachers. However, in the month of June, we take in what the Water and Sewer Operations Department owes for the plan year, which is, I'd say, about $270,000. So with that in mind, I think we're going to be okay to maintain our level. Through today, we've had let's say, just under $150,000 in claims. So based on, I look at where we were all the other months during this year and what the outcome, and so based on, we could have another $600,000 a month. It's kind of like all within the range. So as of today, we're at $7.3 million in claims for the fiscal year. Now, as you know, the Board of Education teachers are all going to the high deductible health plan in July. So we're going to start to see a shift I would expect that we're going to start to see a shift in our claims dollars beginning maybe mid-August, early September, because you have to remember that claims that we're going to be paying in the month of July and August are going to be what are referred to on June 30th as incurred but not reported. So we're going to have that roll out in July and August. Until then, after that, we would expect that we'll start seeing a difference in our claim levels. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I think it's safe to say that we've kind of leveled off on our claims. If you remember, last year we were just climbing every single month, and there was no relief in sight. As a matter of fact, in August of this fiscal year, meaning August of 2015, we had $1 million in claims. That was our highest month that I can ever remember. So I think at this point, it seems that we've kind of leveled off. So.
But we maxed out at 150K?
No, we have individual stop-loss insurance at $125,000.
And we have a couple of people that maxed out last year and going to restart this year?
On July 1st, yes.
So that's all factored into your numbers?
Exactly, yes. Oh, yeah. And so that's, I don't know, so are we all good on the health insurance? I have a couple of other items.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we did an RFP for audit services. And in your green folders, I did a little summary sheet, but then I also, we received 2 responses. I was hopeful that we would have received more. As I mentioned at your last meeting, I obtained a list from the state of Connecticut of the firms that are doing municipalities throughout the state. There were 20 firms on the list. We sent the RFP out to 11 firms. There were a couple of other firms that did not respond to the RFP that made inquiries but ended up not submitting a proposal. So the 2 firms that submitted a proposal are incumbent RSM and Bloom Shapiro.
So the word's out, we're really cheap. We don't like to pay.
So, anyways, the first page is a little summary sheet so that you can kind of, see the comparison between the 2 firms. And then I also attached what was Appendix B in the proposal so that you could see how each of the 2 firms responded.
So is this price a la carte that we could do the annual fiscal from RSM and the federal and state from, that doesn't work that way, does it?
No, we would have to go with one firm. So I had mentioned before that next week, we would like to conduct interviews for the firms that responded, and would like to have 2 Board of Finance members on the panel, so I don't know, somehow the board members can, maybe through the chair, let me know who would be
Do you
interested
have a
in
date
doing
yet?
that. Yes, in checking with our first selectman, Mr. Nickerson, and the Board of Education Business Manager, Ms. Whalen, Thursday afternoon of next week, which is June 16th, at 2 o'clock seemed to be the time. So if, as I said, someone, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Thursday, June 16th at 2 p.m.?
2, yeah.
I am out of town.
So,
I am out of town.
You're out of town.
Let me just.
It's too early for me.
It's too early for you?
Yeah.
He has to get up by 2.
Yeah.
I'll be informed, I can't be.
I will, Beth, if you're not available, I'll reach out to Steve and Lisa to see if they're around.
Still need a
and,
meeting.
I mean, the other thing is, the following week, I would not be available, so it would need to be, I believe, the following week after that. The Monday is June 27th, okay. So, I can check with Mr. Nickerson and Ms. Whalen and see when they're available, and maybe come up with an alternative date that week.
So this is just a one meeting.
Right, we would interview each of the firms, and then a
Right.
decision would be made.
Right. I am available June 27th. If nobody's available, June 16th.
Okay, all right, because we'd like to have
I'm
2,
not available on the 16th.
we'd like to have
I'm
2
sorry,
Board
you
of,
are or you
No.
are not?
we'd like to have 2 Board of Finance members sit on the panel, so.
But you're locked into the 16th, it can't be the 17th.
It was marked, Mr. Nickerson didn't have that availability.
Okay.
But as I said, I think we can look at the last week of the month, which is the week of the 27th, conduct the interviews, and then do the official appointment at your July meeting.
Do you think that's going to be about 2 hours, that interview session? Like say 2 to 4, 2 to 5? Or?
I would say 2 to 4. I mean, we would maybe give the firm 20 minutes or so to do a presentation to the committee, and then the committee, we could have a list of questions to ask the firms, and then make a decision.
Okay.
So you would.
Make a
bring-
excuse me, I should say, make a recommendation to the full board.
But you'd be bringing in at least 2.
Each of the 2 firms, yes.
So you're
That was
talking
the
about
only
an
2.
hour apiece.
I think that would be fair.
That happens.
That's unbelievable.
It's like a niche group though, isn't it?
What?
That do this? I mean, in terms of county.
Are there many, well, there's at least 20 on the state's website, right,
Yeah.
that do this type of
Well,
work?
I obtained the list from the State Office of Policy and Management, a list of all the firms that were currently on record as having conducted a municipal audit in the 14-15 fiscal year. Keep in mind that some of the firms are, a small firm that would cater to smaller municipalities that really wouldn't have the resources to conduct an audit for our town.
Do these auditors, do these firms know that there was only 2 responses?
I haven't contacted either of the
Okay.
firms.
If they don't, they may now. No, whoops. Okay, so I will contact Steve and Lisa to see if they're available on the 16th, 2 to 4 p.m. If not, I know I am definitely available on